holy grail of holy grails within gaming was just fucking found. The original OG PlayStation. Back whenever Nintendo and Sony were actual butt buddies, and they were together and they're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna go and take over the entire gaming world! Then Nintendo was like, fuck you, and then the CDI happened. Then the Zelda and Mario CDI games happened. Then Power Frowns happened, and PlayStation was like, fuck that, I'm gonna go on my own. The rest is history. But there was two different versions of the original PlayStation. One which was a CD add-on that was meant to attach to the bottom of a Super Famicom, and the other one was produced by Sony themselves, which was a standalone disc-based PlayStation with a Super Famicom cartridge slot in the back. That's the version that just got found. This thing is nowhere, not in museums, not around in some fucking office. As a matter of fact, this shit was inside of a box that was technically meant to be trash and be tossed into a fucking landfill, never to see the light of day again. The idea that something that epic would be in the trash hurts me inside, but it didn't happen that way. Thankfully, this is some straight up fucking Indiana Jones shit to me. You have no idea. Fucking Nathan Drake, Lara Croft, Indiana Jones all come together. This is the shit I'd want them to fucking find in my own little nerdy universe of how I want shit to go down. This makes me so fucking happy to see. I want this in a museum. Fact is, motherfuckers everywhere ought to be able to look at and appreciate something like this. Now, it wasn't ever shown to be powered on or playing any games or anything, but it was there and it was real. Looking at the images of it, you can see that this thing's definitely got some age on it, but it's fucking real. Every time that I had seen prototype pictures of this, I was blown away. I understood that Sony was still going to be utilizing the Super Famicom logo whenever they were having this, and that's before that they decided to strike out and have a standalone system that was just their own thing, and they made the PlayStation logo and redesigned the system, but obviously without the Super Famicom cartridge slot on the back. But this is neat as hell. If for any history buffs out there, if you remember, there's multiple companies out there that have had third parties go and produce hardware for them. As a matter of fact, Nintendo had the Panasonic Q, Sega had the JVC XI. As a matter of fact, they had, Sharp also had the Nintendo Television. The 3DO had multiple companies go and produce their hardware and put that on the store shelves. There's all sorts of companies who've done shit like this numerous times throughout gaming. This isn't the first time that we've seen a joint venture together, but Sony, this is their produced system. Now, I don't know if there's any of the Super Famicom CD add-on systems floating around anywhere, like out in the world, but this thing, holy shit. Like, I've seen pictures of it back whenever it was shown off. I think it was maybe at Space World or the Tokyo Game Show. I do not exactly recall, but when it was shown off, people were just fucking blown away, but no one ever had their hands on it. You know, this was just basically spectators being able to go up, snap a couple fucking pictures and shit, and then all the fucking bigwigs from the companies get to go and show it off, holding up in the air while everybody's just foaming at the mouth like, oh my god, just having a fucking grand old time in their pants. Loads blown? Most fucking definitely. Shit's fucking pixelated bukkake. This is fucking cool. You have to understand, I love shit like this whenever it comes to unreleased what-if type systems. You know, I know of all sorts of consoles and handhelds that never even came out. I know about games and prototypes and betas and shit, again, never came out. And that's all thanks to like sites like Unseen64, just going back through old video game magazines like through Game Fan and Game Pro and Electronic Gaming Monthly and shit, and seeing the what could have been of gaming. I always loved that, but this is a monumental occasion. This is a part of history. We are up to the 4th generation of PlayStations. I mean, it's a household name that everybody knows about. Hell, when the PlayStation first came out, most people kind of scoffed at the notion that an electronics company as big as Sony, who was known for making TVs, Walkmans, and fucking CD players and all sorts of other shit, was getting into gaming. Like, you know, nobody took that shit seriously. Just imagine how different the gaming landscape could have been if Nintendo and Sony were still together. making a system. Hell, right now, I'll be completely fucking honest, I would fucking kill for some shit like that, because there would be less hardware I'd have to buy, and it'd just be all in one. So long as both companies don't go and, like, infringe upon one another doing their thing when it comes to making games and shit, and we're still getting, like, up-to-date, top-notch hardware to go and have these games, that'd be fucking spectacular. But just imagine that. If Nintendo didn't go with Philips and that whole thing didn't happen, we would have that system out on store shelves. That would be a common system. That would be a retro game system that we would be like, oh yeah, I remember playing games on that. Shit would have been so fucking crazy. We wouldn't have had a Nintendo 64 more than likely, because it would have been some combination system. You know, I think about them like, holy fuck, man, things would have been insane. And we get to see a relic from that alternate history timeline. You know, something that could have been, and it got stopped dead in its tracks and it just went in a complete different direction. For the better or for worse, just depends on how you look at it, but we don't know what the alternate scenario would have been, so it is what it is. But this is a grand occasion, and it puts a big smile on my face. It really does. I love this kind of stuff, and I want to go and share with everybody. I mean, it's making its rounds. I know this shit's going fucking viral, so share the fuck out of it. Share the images, share the news story. It's just a cool-ass thing in general, and holy fuck, I hope that there's some more out there. I eventually would love to see this in a museum. I know that any collector in their right mind would be happy, but I can tell you with 100% certainty, if I had it, I would still want to give it up to a museum, because what good is it going to do sitting inside of a fucking game room, you know? It's something that it's got historical value to gaming, and anybody who appreciates that will appreciate seeing it in person and understand the fucking legacy behind it. That's awesome fucking stuff right there. So, spread the word, gamers! The original PlayStation has been found. Anyway, opinions, thoughts on it? Think it's kind of neat? First time you're hearing about it? I'll include links and everything in the description so you can go and check that shit out, but yeah, happy as fuck about that. I'm acting like I actually got to see the fucking thing in person. I've seen images of it before, but I didn't know anybody had one. That's a much bigger deal. So who the fuck knows where things are gonna go from here, but either way, I'll go and conclude this video. As always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers, game the fuck on!